Okay, so welcome back. That was a short break. As I mentioned in Outpost 10 video, I found what I believe looks like a village from the distance. So I packed up, took as many supplies as I could carry, and ran as fast as I could to that shape in the horizon. And it certainly looked like structures, like it was a village, and it was the right color of the buildings that I guessed were wooden structures. And so I made a beeline. I rushed as fast as I could over. And this is exactly what I saw. And what you can see now as it emerges from the distance, you can see what I saw. There's the buildings there with a yellowish color, and they're lit up with torches. As we try not to kill my character. And I put golden armor on that horse, but I don't have a saddle, so I couldn't ride him. And I ran and I ran. And as I got closer, I got super excited because you can see, there it is. It's definitely a village. So at this point, I was getting happy, but I wasn't going to let myself get too happy because the last time I approached a village, the buildings were intact, but all the villagers were gone. It was a ghost town. So now I could clearly make out this was definitely a village, and these were definitely villager buildings, but I still didn't see any villagers. So I was kind of upset. Now, this was not here. I put this wall around the entire city because my good friend had taught me that once you get to the village, the villagers are in danger because if it turns to night, the mobs can kill the villagers, and also pillagers can come and kill your villagers also. So I spent the immediate time with all the materials that I had making a wall around the village so that the villagers were protected. And so you can see that this structure, and I added rose bushes where I thought it needed a little extra protection. This all of the structures were incorporated into the wall because I didn't have enough material to go independently around every single structure. So sometimes the wall of the village itself makes up the wall surrounding the village. And as you can see, I did a combination in some areas. Some is smooth stone wall with fence on top, and there's little portals there in case of combat where I can shoot through the openings, and I can also get a good view of the surrounding areas and any threats in those areas. I made this waterfall as a natural barrier to try to impede the progress of any mobs. And so it's turn tonight. I'm not going to sleep through the night and begin the day. I'll just go ahead and do it the video at nighttime because it's relatively safe. The villagers did a fantastic job of making a lot of golems. Iron golems. You can see them walking around. We'll see more of them later. But as you can see, I put up wooden fence all around. I connected it directly to the house. Inside this one, I put these here. That's a cauldron, and I put another cauldron with a campfire inside, and definitely the crafting table. The chest was already there, and I made use of it. So as you can see, the double wall again. I used smooth stone with wooden fence along the top. I have the smooth stone fence with a trench in case anything happened to get through at that time. I added a length of wooden fence along the top, and I put these oak trees here next to the wall. Let's go, let's go inside here. So inside here is just a basic bed with a villager, and I put a fletching table in there. For those of you that don't know, villagers typically don't have professions when you discover them, and that's why I really wanted to find villagers, because I wanted to assign them professions that could help me trade and help give me advantages to my characters. I made this pen. I lured some cows in here and had them breed, excuse me. So we made a few more cows. Here's another basic structure, villager with bed, and I put the smithing table in there. The wall, as you can see, all the way around. This ladder will help me leave the village easily without compromising the safety of the village. This one I'm using for myself. It's got a double wide chest, not much in it. Another bed, a crafting table. None of the villagers used this one because it was so far out of the center of the village that I took it for myself. And eventually, if there's enough villagers, I'm sure they'll reclaim this one, but as of now, no. So again, smooth stone wall, a little portal for combat if necessary, dirt and smooth stone because I had ran out of materials, so I had to improvise. There's another iron golem, one of many. I've lost count how many there are. Dirt wall, ladder on top in case of battle to give me good views in all directions. So it gives me a tactical advantage as I can attack from height and I can just view the areas. I made this myself. As you can see, there's some skeletons waiting to cause trouble out there. I made these areas myself, so let's go down and take a look. In here is a double wide shelter. It's got a bed, no villager, smithing table, crafting table, and storage. And you can see there's just some basic necessities there, essentials. Dirt and smooth stone wall combo. There's the basic villager setup again, simple bed with a loom. And let's go underneath. This was mostly already existing here. I just excavated out a little bit. This one was not existing, so I excavated this area out completely. There's a bed here in case I need it or the villagers need it, and a smithing table, crafting table with a double wide storage also, and plenty of torches to keep the mobs from spawning. Now this one, my friend laughed at me because she doesn't believe me, but this was an area I used as a prison for a do-nothing villager. There are three types of villagers. Villagers with professions, villagers without professions that will get a profession, and do-nothings. They will never get a profession. They're lazy bums and they wear green. So I locked one in here. And he stayed in here for several days, game days, not real days. And he was fine. And he stayed in here with the smithing table. He never took a profession, of course, because he wasn't going to. This bed was here at the end. But when I came to check on him after several days, he jumped into this fire and he stayed there as it killed him, and he didn't move, and all he did was look at me as he burned alive, and eventually he died. And my friend laughed at me because because it sounds ridiculous, but it was true. He stayed there for several days, didn't harm himself, but when I went to check on him inside the room, he jumped into the fire and killed himself. So I know it sounds strange, but it's absolutely true. So let's continue on with the village here. Again, basic setup. One bed. I added the lectern. I believe it's 3 books and 2 wooden slabs make that. This side of the wall is smooth stone with some polished andesite, I think it was, because I ran out once again. Bed and stone cutter tool. I've never used anything from this guy, but let's see what he makes. I took this out. As you can see, most people will be familiar with, that's usually a tree if I'm not mistaken, but I replaced it with smooth stone. And I put a barrel here because I had some villagers without professions, and my smart friend told me that if you leave the barrel out there, the ones without professions may go there and become a fisherman, and sure enough, that's what it did. This was a crafting station that I had set up. I made the structure out of smooth stone, as you can see. The reason why I added it was because one time when I was using it, my back was turned, a creeper got into the village and exploded right behind me, took almost all of my hearts, left me barely alive, and destroyed the town center. And I had to reconstruct all of that. And so I gave myself a little shelter here now while I'm crafting and using the furnace so that a creeper can't sneak up on me again. Here I've planted crops. You see I've recently harvested them, so they're growing back. Another shelter with, I believe that's a blast furnace. So he's got, I can't remember his profession, but that's his profession. You can see this is a fairly large village. It's about 3 times larger than the last village I was in, and it's got tons of people. This is interesting. I put a bed in this structure because there wasn't one, but the guy, the villager, doesn't use that bed. This villager, as you can see, their profession is related to books, so they are a librarian. There's another lectern. They have many more bookshelves than the other one. But he doesn't sleep here, so I don't know what he's doing or where he goes, which house he goes to sleep. And this was the original location of the blast furnace, but it's so far from the town center that nobody uses it. So here's another bed in case we have more villagers later that need one. I put a fishing barrel in here and a crafting table. So let's go finish out the rest of this little village. I'm very happy and excited that I finally found the villagers because I gave them a wide variety of jobs, of professions, but I didn't create any cartographers. For those of you who don't know what that is, those are map makers, and they will map out your village and the surrounding area. This I needed help because this low fence wasn't working perfectly. It did its job for the most part, but some mobs could still leap over or jump on top. So I added a rose bush and sweet berries, a line of defense. That helped a lot, keep them out. The crops are growing back, as you can see here. And I put all of these things here, extra wheat, extra seeds from harvesting. I should use this space to grow more stuff. This one should be a farmer. He's woken up. Yep, you can tell by the hat that he's a farmer. But he doesn't... You create a farmer in profession by putting a composter there. There's his bed, but he doesn't save any extra crops, so I haven't really figured out what his usefulness is. He does tend to the crops a bit, but he doesn't provide any extra wheat or seeds, so I'm not sure what he does. This is another profession, a very important one. You'll recognize what it's for, I'm sure. And I created this mess of a waterfall for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to irrigate the crops, and 2, I wanted to create kind of a natural trap for mobs. But as it works out, it's trapping do-nothing villager. You can always recognize them by their green clothing. And it looks like a villager without a profession. So I'm going to free them and see if they can't pick a a shelter to sleep in. And as you can see, I'm going to let this guy go too. This iron golem is not helping the community. He's trapped in the water. So let me eat some fish to regain, to kill the hunger, and then let these guys free. So I don't like letting the guy free with the do nothing guy. I don't like letting him go, but I want the other villager to get a profession, and so that's the price I have to pay. Letting one free, there he is. Hopefully he'll go find a profession. I've got a little bit more crops up here, some wheat, some potatoes, and this farmer, hopefully he'll tend to that one. There's the composter. Oh, I never noticed the bone meal floating there before. There's his bed. Come in, go out, make up your mind. Alright, so he's not sure what he wants to do, so I'll go out. As you can see, there was a sheer drop from the cliff, and there was nothing I could do about that because any mobs that would fall over the edge would fall directly into the village. So I did put up a gate, but just in case they fell and the drop didn't kill them, I put rose bushes there so they would die from being poked to death. And that's that. Let's see. I'll fill this empty space with wheat seed and we'll continue the tour. Okay, so there's the water irrigation, keeping the crops nice and well water fed, hydrated. And let's continue. Haha. Okay, so we're almost through all of them. There's another fletching table. The villagers have procreated. They've made at least 2 little baby villagers running around. If I recall correctly, the way that you can encourage them to mate is by feeding them, but I'm not 100% sure because I didn't feed them anything and they made villager babies all on their own. You can see there's more crops there. They're coming in nicely. And this is just the view of the village. The torches are overdone mostly by me because I'm under the impression that torches prevent mobs from spawning, or at least minimize spawning. So I make sure that I put torches everywhere for ample lighting. You can see there's a good view of this whole surrounding area. This is a good position for the village, and you can see how big it is. It's quite a few buildings, quite a few villagers. I wasn't used to something quite this big, and I definitely wasn't used to that many villagers running around. So I had to create professions for all of them. It took quite a long time to surround the village and make it safe. We've had very few mobs invade this space, with the exception of that lone creeper that exploded behind me, and whatever else did make it through. The golems have been very good at killing the rest. The golems only need one or two hits, and they kill whatever threat exists. What I'm doing now is I'm running around with the iron in my hand, and you right click on it to heal them. You can see how messy this guy is, and I hit him with the iron and good as new. And you can hear the tin sound that it makes. So just maintaining the village is a lot of work, but man, building these walls around the village took a long time. The crops are a normal thing that I do everywhere, but making sure that the fence was good, testing for weak spots, that took forever. Took a few days. So, you've seen the village. If you have any questions, and please, if you have any advice or tips, let me know. I'm trying my best to learn my way through this game just by playing. Um, and I thank my friend because she's been a great help giving me a lot of advice and trying her best to teach me. Although sometimes I'm slow and thick-headed, she's been very patient. She's taught me quite a bit, and all thanks to her, because without her I wouldn't even be playing this game. So thank you again for joining me on this extra long video. I hope you weren't bored, and next time I promise I'll add more action and more gameplay. I'll probably go into one of the caves and mines. There's a railroad not far from here, so I'll go deeper and explore that with my wolves. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you next time.